On a cold winter afternoon, Helena sat in her favorite armchair, an upholstered and comfortable relic that stood in front of the crackling fireplace in her spacious living room. Her thoughts wandered through the corridors of her mansion, pausing on memories of her 3 children, Lucas, Ryan, and Gabriel, grown and independent, living their lives far from the maternal nest, immersing themselves in a world of opulence and luxury, a legacy of Helena's wealth. "They have everything they could want," Helena murmured, her fingers tracing the embroidery on the cushion beside her. "But do they have happiness?" she pondered. Her children's life choices reflected their diverse interests. Lucas, the eldest, had a passion for sports cars and extravagant trips. Ryan, the middle child, was a nightlife enthusiast, frequenting the most exclusive clubs. Gabriel, the youngest, dedicated himself to collecting modern art and rare antiques. None of them showed interest in careers or starting their own families, something that weighed heavily on Helena's heart. At a dinner with friends, Helena shared her anxieties. "I would give anything to have a house filled with children's laughter again," she said, as her friends nodded in understanding. "But you raised them to be independent, Helena," one of them reminded her. "They're just enjoying life with the resources you've given them." Helena sighed. "Yes, I raised them to be free, but I feared that this freedom would distance them from me." Returning to the reality of the living room, Helena stood up and walked to the window. Watching the snow accumulate on the tree branches, she wondered if the generosity she had always shown to her children had inadvertently created a rift between them. "Perhaps I should have taught them more about the importance of family, not just financial freedom," Helena reflected, her somber expression reflected in the frosted windows. On an impulse, she picked up the phone and dialed Lucas's number. After a few rings, the call went to voicemail. With a sigh, Helena tried Ryan and then Gabriel, receiving the same result. Setting the phone aside, Helena wrapped herself in her shawl, feeling the weight of loneliness. Nevertheless, her hope of gathering the family for Christmas remained a flickering flame that refused to extinguish. She knew that despite everything, she would continue to share her wealth with them in the hope that one day, perhaps, they would realize that the most valuable wealth lay in love and family unity. Helena, at the age of 72, exuded youthful energy as she wandered through the expansive dining room of her luxurious mansion. The soft candlelight shimmered on the meticulously arranged mahogany table set for the Christmas dinner. Helena, a successful and respected businesswoman, had dedicated her life to growing her company. But on that night, her focus was on family as she prepared everything for the Christmas feast. "Do you think they will like it, Madison?" Helena asked, adjusting a floral arrangement in the center of the table. Madison, her loyal housekeeper of many years, smiled as she polished the silverware. "Of course, they will, Mrs. Helena. You always know how to make everything look perfect." Helena smiled weakly. "Thank you, Madison. You really outdid yourself this year. I just hope that—" Her voice trailed off, and she turned her gaze back to the window. Madison approached, placing a comforting hand on Helena's shoulder. "They will come, Mrs. Helena. They wouldn't miss this for anything." "I hope you're right," Helena said, her gaze still fixed on the snow-covered road leading to the mansion. Madison, after a final check to ensure everything was in order, grabbed her coat. "Well, I need to go now. David and Anna are waiting for me. We have our own little celebration too." "Of course, go be with your family, Madison, and thank you again," Helena replied, forcing a smile. Madison hesitated for a moment, looking at Helena with a concerned expression. "If you need anything, don't hesitate to call. I'll be here in an instant." "Thank you, Madison. Have a wonderful Christmas with your family," Helena said, accompanying her to the door. With Madison's departure, Helena was left alone in the vast room surrounded by festive glow and silence. She sat in one of the armchairs, wrapping herself in a shawl as she watched the snow fall outside. The clock marked the hours, and Helena's anticipation slowly turned into a sense of abandonment as the night silently descended upon the mansion. As twilight deepened and shadows danced on the walls of Helena's mansion, a growing sense of restlessness took hold of her. The antique wall clock echoed each second with a melancholic chime, marking the passage of time and the absence of her children. Now alone in her vast living room, with the fireplace gently crackling in the background, Helena picked up her cell phone. A spark of hope still gleamed in her eyes as she dialed Lucas's number with trembling fingers, her heart beating hopefully with each ring. But, as had been happening, the call went straight to voicemail. "Lucas, dear, it's Mom. I'm waiting for you all for Christmas dinner. Please call as soon as you can," she left a message, her voice choked with emotion. She then tried Ryan, holding the phone with hands that were beginning to feel the cold of the room. Once again, the call was ignored, directed to an impersonal recording. "Ryan, it's Mom. I'm worried. Please let me know if you're on your way," she spoke, anxiety clear in her voice. Finally, she called Gabriel, but the result was the same. A sense of desolation began to settle in, and Helena felt a tightening in her chest. She sent text messages to each of them, her words typed with a mixture of hope and sadness. "I'm waiting for you. Dinner is ready. Please come." Meanwhile, in a modern apartment in the heart of the city, the three siblings were gathered, immersed in the excitement of a Christmas party. Loud music, laughter, and conversations drowned out the sound of their phones. Ryan, the host, was toasting with friends, completely oblivious to his mother's attempts to contact him. Lucas, amid the crowd, laughed loudly at a joke, his phone forgotten in a corner. Gabriel, the youngest, was engaged in a lively discussion about art, his phone on silent mode. Back at the mansion, Helena sank deeper into her armchair, the glow of Christmas lights unable to warm the growing coldness in her heart. She looked around the decorated room, every ornament, every detail a reminder of past celebrations and the joy that now seemed so distant. The hours passed, and with them, Helena's hope faded, leaving her embraced by loneliness on her Christmas night. Leave your comments here. Do you think Helena's children will show up? If you were in Helena's place, would you forgive your children for their lack of response? Tell us what you would do. In the grand mansion, Helena felt the weight of silence and loneliness. The night had fully settled in, and the twinkling lights of the Christmas decorations could no longer brighten her spirits. Sitting in her favorite armchair, an elegant and comfortable piece that had witnessed many happy Christmases, Helena gazed at the front door, growing increasingly despondent. Tears began to well up, slowly tracing salty paths down her face. She whispered to herself in an attempt to find some solace, "They can still come. The night is not over." But deep down, her heart knew the painful truth. She felt abandoned, forgotten by those she loved most. "I gave them everything, Helena murmured between sobs, "and in return, they leave me here alone." Sadness turned into deep and desolate crying, echoing through the silent walls of the mansion. While Helena faced her night of desolation, Madison, the dedicated housekeeper who had left earlier, was immersed in a completely different environment. In her modest home, Christmas was celebrated with warm and loving simplicity. The small apartment was filled with laughter and joyful conversation, a stark contrast to Helena's vast mansion. Madison was surrounded by her family, her son David, a bright-eyed child with an infectious smile, and her daughter Anna, whose kindness and affection brought Madison joy. They had prepared a simple but delicious dinner with dishes that exuded homemade and comforting aromas. "Mom, this was the best Christmas," exclaimed David, his eyes shining with happiness. Anna, smiling affectionately at her mother, added, "Yes, Mom, being together is the best gift of all." Madison looked at her children with a mixture of gratitude and love. "You are my greatest gift," she said, embracing them both. "I don't need anything else." While Madison and her family shared laughter and stories, making plans for the coming year, Helena remained in her mansion, embracing loneliness. The difference between the two celebrations could not be more profound, one marked by opulence but devoid of love, and the other simple but overflowing with the warmth of family and shared joy. In Madison's modest home, as the family shared moments of laughter and joy, a latent concern began to form in Madison's heart. She thought of Helena, her employer, and, over the years, a motherly figure, alone in her grand mansion. The image of Helena sitting in her favorite armchair, waiting in vain for her children to arrive, wouldn't leave her mind. Madison, with a deep sigh, turned to David and Anna, who were happily playing with their Christmas gifts. "Kids, I was thinking, how about we pay a visit to Mrs. Helena? She must be feeling very lonely right now." David, always enthusiastic, responded first, "That would be nice. Mrs. Helena is always so kind to us." Anna, with her gentle nature, agreed, "Yes, let's brighten her Christmas. She always treats us so warmly." With the decision made, the family quickly prepared for the surprise visit. Madison, putting on her coat, felt a mixture of anxiety and determination. She knew this was the right thing to do. As they arrived at Helena's mansion, the vastness and silence of the property were palpable. The grand front doors seemed even more imposing on this cold Christmas night. Madison rang the doorbell, her heart pounding with anticipation. When Helena opened the door, shock and surprise were evident on her face. Her eyes, still red and swollen from crying, lit up upon seeing Madison and her children. "Madison, David, Anna, what are you doing here?" Helena stammered, incredulous. "We've come to wish you a Merry Christmas, Mrs. Helena," Madison said, smiling warmly. "We couldn't let you spend this night alone." Helena made room for them to enter. Helena's own children, Lucas, Ryan, and Gabriel, who, as expected, had not shown up, entered with Madison and her children. With the understanding expression, Madison responded, "They didn't come, did they? Well, now you have our company. Let's make this night special together." The gratitude and relief on Helena's face were unmistakable as she invited Madison and her children inside. A feeling of warmth and companionship began to spread throughout the mansion, illuminating Christmas night with an unexpected light of hope and joy. The atmosphere in Helena's mansion completely changed with the arrival of Madison and her children. David and Anna, surprise and emotion shining in Helena's eyes as she opened the door to them. For a moment, she was speechless, taking in the reality of this unexpected act of kindness. "Madison, you have no idea how much this means to me. You've just brightened my night." David, always full of energy, rushed in, exclaiming, "Your house is so big, Mrs. Helena. It looks like a palace." Anna, more reserved but with a shy smile, added, "We're very happy to be here with you." With tears in her eyes, Helena looked at Madison. "How can I ever thank you for this? You've made my Christmas special." "No need to thank us, Mrs. Helena. It's a joy to be here," Madison replied, leading her children inside. The dining room, once silent and empty, was now filled with laughter and conversation. Helena invited everyone to sit at the table, where a Christmas feast was elegantly arranged. Exquisite dishes and delicious aromas filled the air, creating a welcoming atmosphere. "Please help yourselves. Tonight is for us to celebrate together," Helena said, smiling as she watched Madison and the children settle in. During the dinner, cheerful conversations and stories were shared. David and Anna spoke animatedly about their simple lives, filling the room with their youthful energy. Helena, listening to them, felt a joy she hadn't experienced in a long time. "You both remind me so much of my children when they were young," Helena said with a nostalgic smile. "How I wish they were here to see this. They're missing a wonderful night." Madison commented gently. The night progressed with Helena becoming more involved in the conversations, laughing and sharing her own stories. Watching David and Anna, she thought about what it would be like to have grandchildren like them, feeling a twinge of sadness but also gratitude for this unexpected night of joy. When the dinner concluded, everyone gathered in the living room. David and Anna helped Helena decorate a Christmas tree, something she had planned to do with her own children. The exchange of improvised gifts, laughter, and the warmth of companionship brought a new meaning to Christmas for Helena. "Tonight," Helena began, looking at everyone, "tonight has shown me the true spirit of Christmas. Thank you, Madison, David, Anna. You are my family tonight. And so, amid laughter and stories, Christmas night in Helena's mansion transformed from a lonely occasion into a warm and memorable celebration thanks to the kindness of a family that chose to share their love and company. Just a few days after the Christmas night, an unexpected turn of events shook Helena's mansion. The news of Helena's sudden departure, like a sad whisper, spread quickly. The woman who had been a pillar of strength and success, a motherly figure to many, was no longer among them. Grief and shock intertwined in the hearts of all who knew her, but no heart was as heavy as Madison's. In the mansion's office, where many important decisions had been made, a lawyer read Helena's will. Lucas, Ryan, and Gabriel, who had appeared immediately upon learning of their mother's death, were present, expecting to receive their share of the inheritance. Madison, also present, maintained a calm demeanor, although her heart was heavy with sadness. In accordance with Helena's last will, the lawyer began, she has left very clear instructions regarding the distribution of her property and fortune. Helena's children exchanged confident glances, expecting to hear their names. But what followed left them stunned. Helena had left her entire inheritance to Madison, her loyal employee, in recognition of years of dedication and loyalty. The lawyer continued, looking over his glasses at those present. Lucas interrupted, incredulous, this must be some mistake. How could our mother disinherit us? Ryan, equally shocked, added, we are her children. This doesn't make sense. Gabriel, the youngest, was silent, his expression a mixture of surprise and disbelief. Madison, in shock, stammered, I don't know what to say. Helena was always generous, but I never expected. There is no mistake, the lawyer said, closing the document. Helena was in full control of her mental faculties when she made this decision. She clearly expressed her desire for her fortune to be used to reward kindness and compassion, values she held in high regard. Helena's children, unable to accept the decision, were consumed by a mix of anger and disbelief. They argued, protested, but the will was clear and legally binding. They were informed that they would need to give up on the mansion, the property they had once thought was their guaranteed inheritance. Lucas, Ryan, and Gabriel, still in shock and indignation, left the mansion, forced to face a future without the fortune they had always considered certain. Madison, on the other hand, found herself with an unexpected and immense responsibility, carrying the legacy of Helena and the weight of honoring her memory and intentions. After the unexpected turn that life presented to her, Madison found herself at the center of a new reality, inheritor of a vast fortune and an imposing mansion. She felt the weight of responsibility, but also a deep gratitude and determination to honor Helena's memory. In the days following the reading of the will, Madison spent hours in Helena's office, immersed in papers and documents. She was determined to learn everything she could about the administration of Helena's company, an empire built through years of dedication and effort. I need to do this for her, Madison murmured to herself, for everything she did for me. With the support of Helena's loyal executives, Madison began to grasp the intricate details of the business. She brought with her a freshness and a new perspective, always mindful of Helena's teachings and example. Helena always said that a business should be more than profit, it should be a force for good, Madison reflected as she made important decisions. In addition to thriving in the business, Madison took care of the mansion with the same love and attention that had always characterized her work. She restored the gardens, keeping them as beautiful as Helena liked, and preserved every room in the house, honoring the memory and style of her former employer. Every Christmas, the mansion lit up not just with lights, but with the spirit of generosity and love that Helena had instilled in Madison. Madison organized Christmas parties for the company's employees and their families, perpetuating Helena's tradition of sharing joy and kindness. Helena always loved this time of year, Madison would tell the guests. She believed that Christmas was about sharing and caring for each other. That's what we're doing here. David and Anna, now a little older, helped Madison decorate the mansion and prepare the festivities. Mom, Mrs. Helena would be so proud of you, Anna would say while hanging ornaments on the Christmas tree. Yes, she would, Madison replied with a smile, her eyes shining with tears of longing and gratitude. She lives in our hearts and in every good deed we do. Thus, every Christmas, the mansion echoed with laughter and celebration, a monument to the legacy of love and generosity that Helena had left behind, now carefully maintained and honored by Madison. Thank you for joining us today on Deep Stories. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video.